This week we've got highlights from internship opportunities with Chick-fil-a, a collaboration between the PA and nursing school, Medlife Skills Lab, question of the week, and Elliot Reeder with the latest in MC Sports. Hello and welcome to a new episode of MCTV. I'm Anisha Trevino. Let's get to the news. Last Tuesday in the Mack Center in the library, Executive Director of Talent and Recruitment for Chick-fil-a, Lisa Hellier, came and spoke to MC students about different internships opportunities, and a panel was held with current students who gave advice as well as talked about their experience. Medlife held an event where MC grad student and expansion officer Aisha Edwards talked about Medlife High School Day and the purpose of the organization, and Dr. Barassa conducted the Medlife Skills Lab for Medlife students.
It's Aisha Edwards, and I am a graduate student in the Biology Medical Sciences program here at Mississippi College. I am the expansion officer for our Medlife chapter. So Medlife is an organization that focuses on providing medicine, education, and development to impoverished areas and underdeveloped communities. So what we want to do is we want to be able to empower all communities to have the same equal access to everything that we all should truly be afforded to. The purpose of the event today is to encourage high school students to give back to their communities, to encourage them to continue their education, to encourage them to follow their dreams, no matter what it may be, and to also encourage them to take a good look at their mental health so that they may be able to truly focus on their goals and stay the course.
Last Thursday, for the first time ever, the PA and nursing students did their first interprofessional education collaboration in the nursing lab from 1 to 3 p.m. Marquisha Mathis talked to a few students and faculty to find out what it was like working together for the first time.
I've really enjoyed being on the faculty at Mississippi College's PA program. I've been able to explain to several students that being able to train my own colleagues is a really high honor. It's great to be able to instruct these students on things that I love to learn in PA school and that I would have liked to learn in PA school. And that's kind of what led us to implement the skills lab that we've started doing. And on that skills lab, we've kind of spoken with the nursing program and found a way to collaborate and learn from their students and their students learn from ours, sort of promoting interprofessional practice. We really want to make sure that we're learning to all be different players of the team, but also learn from each member of the team.
Learned catheter insertions. Some of the PA students learned suturing skills. We also did the urine analysis steps and what it means to interpret those. I thought it was a really fun experience to kind of get out of my hole and come meet some of the nursing students and learn from them as far as their skill sets.
Yeah, I think it was fun to socialize with other people that is from different disciplines than we are.
And finally, this past weekend was Super Bowl Sunday, and to make things a little more interesting, we wanted to know your predictions on the score and your final thoughts about the game.
What's your prediction on the score?
So for the Super Bowl, I'm going to give it to the 49ers 27-24.
I think the 49ers are going to win.
What were your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I think the Super Bowl was a great game. The Super Bowls were okay. The Chiefs were down by 10 with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They came back and won the game. Patrick Mahomes proved why he's such a great quarterback, and he'll be great for years to come.
I thought it was a good game. I thought the Chiefs played well. 49ers defense really forced Patrick Mahomes to do some outlandish things, but he still got it together and did his thing.
Well, honestly, I kind of thought that, I like it, and it shows that a comeback is possible even when everything is, against you. I was rooting for the Chiefs, but I still think that call for that touchdown that sort of brought him back into it, I think it's both.
And now we turn to Elliot Reeder with the latest in MC Sports. Elliot?
Thanks, Anissa. It was a very busy weekend in Choctaw athletics as spring sports are getting started while winter sports are still going on, so let's dive right in. The men's basketball team returned home this past weekend needing some wins as they try to push towards the GSC tournament. They hosted Lee University on Thursday. The game was tight in the opening minutes, but then Lee went on a 16-2 run that gave the Flames a 23-10 lead. But then the Choctaws went on a run of their own as they stormed all the way back to take a 24-23 lead. The two teams kept battling in the final few minutes of the first half as Lee led 29-26 at the break. Lee would open up the second half on a 13-2 run and would stay comfortably ahead from there as MC would fall 68-54. 2 days later, the Choctaws would get a shot at revenge against nationally ranked Alabama Huntsville, a squad that had beaten the Choctaws by 35 last weekend. UAH jumped out to a 28-19 lead, but the Choctaws' defense started dominating from there, as UAH only mustered 7 points in the final 7 minutes of the half, as MC came all the way back and only trailed by 2 at the break. The two teams battled all second half as the Choctaws played suffocating defense while Winford Ross and Isaiah Brown took over on the offensive end. Brown hit a huge 3 to put up MC by 2 with 6 minutes left, and the Choctaws didn't trail for the entire rest of the game as MC got the huge 75-68 upset win. Ross was the key piece for the Choctaws over the weekend as he scored 23 against UAH after scoring 13 against Lee. The Choctaws now sit at 8-12 on the season with a 4-10 mark in GSE play. MC is currently 2 games out of the 8th spot in the conference, and they will travel to Montgomery this weekend to take on AUM, which is one of the teams that they are battling for with that final spot in the conference tournament. The women's basketball team had a tough test this past weekend as they had to face the number 6th ranked team in all of Division II while being down several starters. The Lady Choctaws struggled from the get-go with the length and three-point shooting of Lee as the Lady Flames jumped out to a 42-14 halftime lead. The second half was much of the same as Lee would go on to knock off MC 74-42. On Saturday, the Lady Choctaws would get their starters back, but it was much of the same as MC fell 67-49. Zaria Matthews scored 20 in her return on Saturday. MC currently sits at 8-12 overall with a 5-9 record in GSE play. The Lady Choctaws are also right in the thick of the race for a spot in the GSE tournament. They also sit just 2 games out of the final spot, and they will also travel to AUM this Saturday. Chanel Kitchens is currently leading the GSE in steals with 3.1 per game. The MC baseball team got their season started this past weekend as they hosted Harding University with a doubleheader on Saturday and a game on Sunday. In Game 1 on Saturday, the Choctaws capitalized on some Harding mistakes to take a 3-0 lead early as they scored on 2 errors and a fielder's choice. MC would then extend their lead to 4-0 as George Fareed singled in Ken Scott. Harding would get a run back in the 6th, but the Choctaws would add runs in the 7th and 8th to win the game 6-1. David Dunn was great in his Choctaw debut on the mound as he threw 5 scoreless innings. In Game 2 on Saturday, it was much of the same early as it was close until freshman Caleb Reese blew the game open with a 3-run homer in the 5th. MC would go on to win 6-2 as they started the year out with a doubleheader sweep. Another newcomer was superb in his debut on the mound as Luke Files threw 5 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. Game 3 of the series on Sunday did not go as well for the Choctaws, though. Harding jumped out in front in the top of the first, and then they went on to lead 3-2 after 6. They would then add a run in both the 8th and the 9th innings as MC would drop the first game of the year by a score of 5-2. Caleb Reese led MC at the plate for the series as he went 5 of 9 with a homer and 4 RBI. The Choctaws will be back on the road this weekend as they travel to Georgia for a 3-game series against Young Harris. The softball team got their campaign kicked off this past weekend at the Gulf Coast Invitational. They were originally scheduled to play 2 games on Friday, but both of those games were canceled due to weather. In Game 1 on Saturday against nationally ranked St. Leo, the Lady Choctaws jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the 3rd when Shayla McKissick singled in a run and then scored later in the inning on an error. MC led all the way to the bottom of the 7th until St. Leo tied the game up in their final half inning. The game would go to extras where St. Leo would get the walk-off win in the bottom of the 8th. In Game 2 on Saturday against Midwestern State, the Lady Choctaws jumped out to a 4-0 lead in the 1st when Kendall Daniels and Haley Claypool both got 2 RBI hits. MC would go on to win the game 7-3. In Game 1 on Sunday against nationally ranked North Georgia, MC fell behind early when North Georgia hit a 2-run homer in the 1st, and MC would go on to lose the game 3-0. Then in the final game of the tournament, the Lady Choctaws got a statement win as they rolled Tuskegee 12-1 to leave the tournament at 2-2. In that final game, Rain Minor led the Lady Choctaws with 3 hits and 3 runs scored. She also currently leads the team with 9 hits and 5 steals on the season. The Lady Choctaws will be back on the road this weekend as they travel to play in the McGee-Hawkins Invitational, which will consist of 4 games, including one against number 2 ranked Texas A&M of Kingsville. The men's and women's track and field teams competed at the Wendy's-Pittsburgh State Invite this past weekend in Kansas. Full results for the meet can be found on GoChoctaws.com. The men's and women's tennis teams will open up their season this weekend in New Orleans when they battle Xavier on Saturday and Loyola on Sunday. That's it for a very busy week in Choctaw athletics. Back to you, Anissa.
Thanks, Elliot. That's all we have for the show today. If you've got story ideas or want to be a part of our MCTV team this semester, email us at misscollegetv@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Miss College TV. And subscribe to us on YouTube at MCTV-Mississippi College News. I'm Anissa Trevino. We'll see you next week.